Hi, this is Robin Boston. We're going to be talking today about representation of men and women in sports media today. And I do touch base on, the differences of high school sports versus college sports and looking at, local versus more national news or media and just how female athletes are represented in those different environments, both high school and college. I do see a significant difference personally. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. There has been a significant shift in sports media regarding the coverage of male sports and athletes over females. Bios in 2013 said female athletes are more often portrayed in ways that emphasize femininity and sexuality before athletic competence. Women are also seen more as participants in individual sports rather than with a team. Sex appeal seems to be a focus when women are shown in the media in team sport environments. Sports for so long has been thought of as masculine and displays of aggression and physicality. There are hopes that this representation may become more balanced in the future. Just looking down onto my image on image two, that's the Texas A&M women's basketball team. And in my mind, when I think of women's basketball, I do think of a little more masculinized sport, even though females do play it as well. And so I see in this picture that the entire team is in like evening gowns or business suits, which to me seems a little risque, but honestly, a lot of colleges do this sort of thing for the media to boost ticket sales and just boost the name of the school. Um, well, I looked at the newspaper. I chose the Idaho Statesman, which is a local regional paper, just here out of Nampa, Idaho, to monitor the differences in gender representation in the sports. And they do cover both high school and college as well, so I do kind of look at that. Currently, we just have concluded the fall sports season, which is mostly represented by football, volleyball, cross country, swim, and soccer. And just a side note, in those, of course, football is primarily male, volleyball female, and then cross country, swim, and soccer do have both gender teams in those. So the breakup is really even. In regards to high school, I have noticed the slight bias with male representation, being that state football is coming up and soccer championships just ended. I feel in this last week or so that I did examine the newspaper online, I feel like I really rarely saw any representation for girls volleyball, even specifically, or just regular girls sports. College sports are often represented by male, or I guess I should re-say that. Currently, the college sports scene in this newspaper is mainly represented by like the BSU men's football team. I do think female sports get more coverage during the spring season, and this could definitely just be that there aren't as many sports that both girls and boys play in the spring. If I can remember off the top of my head, there's softball and baseball and track, and I think tennis is there too. Um, so, I mean, I guess it is kind of, the numbers are kind of even, but I do definitely see a gender bias as far as representation. I did focus on finding photos that displayed female athletes playing their sport, particularly when I was looking at the newspaper. High school, as it should be, more focused on physicality than appearance for the media, as they should. High school athletes are, trying very hard to become college athletes and scout, and they want to display their athletic abilities. So, I mean, if I was back in high school again, that would be my goal too, would be to be shown playing my sport at the best I am. As athletes move into the college setting, I have noticed that it does become more about performance and appearance, most likely due to the fact that these schools are trying to earn money through ticket sales and their media presence, boosting their school's name. I would Google college sports and look at the images that pop up, whether they were action shots or if they were organized photo shoots for media like this image on number 2. It was also noticed that athletes of different races or disabilities were not represented often if at all. And I feel like that's a difference between high school and college because obviously in this photo at number 2, there is, African American as well as white women in this photo. And if I scroll down, I did catch a couple photos in um, from the Idaho Statesman, and over here in say the volleyball picture, I do see mostly white females, and obviously it's the demographic of the location. Um, Obviously there's a white female, a different gosh, a different ethnicity female right here, and we see, it does appear that these two football players are of the same nationality, maybe. So maybe just a difference. Obviously, in colleges, people from all over the country, um, go to that school. And in Idaho, we don't see a lot of different um, races in our schools. There are some that are, more more phased towards another race than others, but there was another note over here by Yip in 2016 that said a total of 357 articles were analyzed using content analysis, and the findings showed that the gender representations on the two media outlets were quite similar as they both portrayed female players more negatively than male players by focusing on a few areas directly or indirectly: athletic weakness, negative skills, mental weakness, or not and non-competitive roles, including appearance, attire, family, and personal relationship. This, like, honestly is a kind of frustrates me as a female athlete because, women fought for so long to just have a name for themselves in society, and it's still, there are some still instances where we are negatively portrayed in the media. And if I look into my data table number 1, this came from the article on NCAA Division I media guides that I cited by Bayous. It says the number of sports and intercollegiate media guides examined from 2009 to 2010. And from the looks of it, it appears to be quite equal. But, I mean, that was also 10 years ago. So it has drastically changed, I would say. And down on image 3, this is the comparison of 2004 to 2010 data of uniform presence or court location. Um, so like how many photos were taken in uniform and on the court. If you can see, the on the court percentage over that 6 years dropped a lot. The other two were still pretty similar, but again, athletes want to be portrayed in their best element, which is playing their sport. And I think that's how they should be represented. And I honestly think that's most appealing to me um, as a spectator. I would rather see photos of my team playing the sport rather than like an organized photo shoot, like in number 2. Um, Moss also said that we find this was a article about golfing particularly. He said that we find that golfers with disabilities are absent from advertisements and photographs and given minimal attention in articles. And this is actually super true. I feel maybe not so much in smaller towns where this may be the case, but disability doesn't have to be apparent on the outside. And so there could very well be more athletes that we don't know about suffering from some sort of disability, even ADHD or something like that. Um, I don't think people recognize that that could be, a way for athletes to come out of their shell and realize that it is okay to be different and I can still be successful in a sport. I think that should definitely be a change that could be made. Overall, sports have really evolved over the years. As we can recall back to when sports started to be publicized, um, we can remember the influx of male representation in the media. Um, like Jackie Robinson. He was like the face of baseball for so many years because women weren't there. Women didn't play in sports for so long. Once women began to make their presence in the athletic world, the gender bias slowly began to shift. Um, as a female athlete myself, I've only hoped for equality and representation to display our athletic abilities and give us credit for our hard work. In the local newspapers, high school sports are pretty fairly equal in representing girls and boys, although in some seasons there are not equal amounts of sports that have both genders playing. Moving into college, sports do become more sexualized, which can be disturbing to most. Um, yeah, I actually found this project quite interesting. I enjoyed the research. There is definitely more that I wish I could have put on this poster, but overall, I think we can come to the conclusion that high school is very equal, um, and college is a little bit more sexualized based on, honestly, based on money and based on how the school wants to portray themselves. And it just is how it is. But I would definitely like to see more, in action photos or even just like this volleyball picture post state championship game. This is awesome. Like this is what I like to see. Or in action photos like this basketball picture. These are more appealing to me than anything. Yeah, that's about it. I have references and everything, so can't wait for you to see it. Thank you.